The video will start in a few seconds, but as a reminder, remember, if you have a question, comment, or suggestion about this video, please follow the link below. Also note that you can post anonymously. Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds from 3dgameman.com and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the NZXT Phantom 820 case. The case box certainly reflects the size of the case. This is one humongous case. The box itself has lots of pictures of the product on it, as well as features and specifications. The case comes with styrofoam on either end, and the case itself is in a plastic bag. They also have some protective plastic on the window. This is a full tower case, and it's mainly comprised of steel, plastic, and mesh. Have a look at the overall styling on this case. It is very well done. It looks quite nice, bold in some places, but elegant in others. I think it works quite well. At the top, there's lots of ventilation, mesh, and they include a 200mm fan. But there are a number of fan options up here. You can add another 200mm fan, or instead you can have two 140mm fans or three 120mm fans. There are a couple of different radiator options at the top. You can fit a 2x140mm rad or a 3x120mm rad. This case has a very impressive lighting system, both on the outside with a few of the accent pieces as well as on the inside. At the top left, there are 6 USB ports. 2 of these are USB 3 and the other 4 are USB 2. On the top right, there's the power button, reset button, a fan controller, as well as the microphone jack and headphone jack, and a number of LEDs. At the front, there's a door which swings open to reveal 4 5¼ drive bays, and each one of these drive bay covers are very easy to remove. Just push this tab this way and remove it, and that's it. Then install the drive. Here are the buttons for the LEDs and the lighting system. You can dial up just about an endless amount of colors, and there's a card reader in the middle. There are also accent LEDs along the top left and front left of the case. At the front bottom, there's mesh, and this will provide lots of ventilation for the included 200mm fan, and as well, at the very bottom, they include a slide-out removable dust filter. On the left side panel, they include a window, as well as lots of mesh and a 200mm fan. The right side panel is plain except for this punch out, and this will allow more cables to be routed on the right side of the case behind the motherboard tray. At the back of the case, they include a 140mm fan, but you can install a 120mm fan if you want to, and note that the fan can be moved up or down. Here's where the motherboard's I/O shield plate gets installed. They include 9 ventilated expansion slots. There are 4 rubber grommeted holes for routing water cooling tubes and or cables through. Note all the thumb screws. There are 6, 2 at the top, 2 in the middle, and 2 more at the bottom. And here is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed as well. They include a removable dust filter for the power supply's intake fan. To take off each side panel, first remove the top thumb screw and the bottom thumb screw, but just unscrew the middle thumb screw. Don't take it out, just unscrew it a little bit, then push it down, and the side panel will come right off. This is a true full tower case in the sense that there's plenty of room to work on the inside. Unfortunately, the motherboard tray is not removable, although they do include a large hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate, and this is an enormous time saver. As well, they include lots of punch outs on the opposite side of the motherboard tray so you can organize the cables back there. As well, a great cable management system. Lots of rubber grommeted holes and areas to route the cables behind the motherboard tray. And by the way, there is plenty of space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel to organize cables. Get your cables out of the case when you can and route them behind the motherboard tray. This will increase airflow inside the case and it just looks so much better. There's a toolless design on the 5¼ inch drive bays. To install a 5¼ inch drive, simply release this lock, push it forwards, then flip this up, insert the drive, flip it back, and then lock it into position. There are 6 internal 3½ inch or 2½ inch drive bays. 4 fit at the top in this compartment, which by the way you access from the right side of the case, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But on this side they include a removable drive bay cage where you can fit 2 3½ inch drives into or 2 2½ inch drives into. To install a 3½ inch drive, just slide this out, place the drive into it, and slide it back in. If you want to install a 2½ inch drive, you'll just have to use 4 screws, mount it into place, slide this in, and slide it right back into place. They have thumb screws on the expansion slot, so this will make it easy to install and remove cards. At the bottom, there are lots of rubber rests for the power supply to lodge on. You can also install up to 2 140mm or 120mm fans. If you install 2 fans, though, at the bottom, you will need to remove this bottom hard drive cage completely. Now, video card length will vary. It depends on whether you have an optional 140mm or 120mm installed on this pivot. You install the fan and you can pivot it and position it where you want it. Because if you have a fan installed, of course, the fan is going to come out a little ways and the video cards get installed here at the top. So you can have a video card that is up to a maximum of around 32 centimeters in length. Power supply length will vary as well. It depends whether you have an optional 140 or 120mm fan installed at the bottom, but you can fit a power supply that is up to around 37 centimeters in length and a cooler that is approximately 18 centimeters in height. Let's have a closer look at your fan options at the top of the case. They already include a 200mm fan, but you can install another one. Optionally, you can install 2 140mm fans or 3 120mm fans. Take note of the LED lighting system here at the top. Now have a look at the right side of the case with the right side panel removed. As you can see on the back of the motherboard tray, there are plenty of places to organize cables. Lots of punch outs, so you can use cable ties and attach the cables. Also, look at all of these rubber grommeted holes. Fantastic. Get all your cables back here. They also include a 8-pin lead. Now this is an extension basically for that 8-pin motherboard lead in case, you know, your lead from your power supply is not long enough. Here are those 4 internal 3½ inch drives, only accessible from the right side of the case. Same system applies here. Just slide this out, install the drive, and you can install 2½ inch drives on these as well using screws, and then slide it back into place. At the bottom, there are 4 rather large rubber feet. Now, before we have a listen to the fans, let me go over the stock cooling. At the front, they include one 200mm intake fan. On the left side panel, they include one 200mm intake fan. At the top, they include one 200mm exhaust fan, and at the back, they include one 140mm exhaust fan. Finally, have a listen to the stock cooling as I increase it from the minimum speed up to the maximum speed. This case has pretty much everything you should be looking for and more in a full tower case. It looks great, the overall build quality and styling is really good, and the feature list is long. Now it is large and it is fairly heavy, but that is part of a full tower case. So if you're in the market for a full tower case, I would keep this one at the very top of your list. Overall, this is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care. I hope you enjoyed this video review, and please note that pricing for this product is available on the 3D Game Man video review page.